Hello book besties, welcome back to the Lucy Chronicles. My name is Lucy and today's video is going to be my August TBR. So I am going to structure this very similarly to how I do my other TBR videos, in that we're going to start by talking about the books I'm rolling over from previous months into this month. Then I will talk about any buddy reads that I have scheduled. And then we will talk about any books that I really desperately want to read, like the ones that are like very priority. And then we'll talk about any readathons that I'm going to be participating in. And then we'll end with my TBR jar. Yes, we are going to be bringing her back this month. I think it's a very good month to bring her back because there isn't a ton going on for August. So let's go ahead and start with my rollovers. I'll start with the two that I am currently reading on Kindle Unlimited. The first one is Vanished by Terry Blackstock. I'll put a picture here. I've been reading this since April, y'all. And it's not taking me long because it's boring or because it's bad. The summer's just been crazy. I haven't really read at all this summer. I think June I maybe read 3 books. It's the end of July and I have yet to finish my second book, y'all. It's just been a very busy summer. If you don't know what this is about, essentially follow this chick who is driving her car one night on a windy road in the dark, in the rain. And she slams on her brakes when she sees this like random hooded figure in front of her. It's like this chick who's like hooded and she's like mysterious. And Moira, that's her name. She slams on her brakes and she fishtails and like spins off. But she feels this thud. Like she feels this thud. So she's like 100% sure that she hit her, this chick. And so she's about to get out of her car when this dude runs over and he's like, "Ma'am, are you okay? Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm okay, but I think I just hit this chick. I'm pretty sure she's dead. I'm pretty sure I killed her." And he is like, "Okay, well, just sit here. I will go check on her. I'll call the cops and I'll be right back." Well, time passes and eventually Moira passes out at her car. Okay. And when she comes to, she's completely alone. Like everyone around her has vanished. Like there's no sign of the chick that she hit and there's no sign of the dude. And so she's like freaking out. She's like, "Oh my gosh, what happened? What happened? What happened?" And like she goes to try to tell her story to like the cops and to everybody, and everyone thinks that she's like wacko. Everyone's like, they don't believe her. They think that she's like strung out on something, or you know, she was drinking or she imagined it or whatever. She decides to try to hire a PI to help her figure out what happened. And that's kind of the point of the story that I'm at right now, is she's like met this PI guy and she's gonna try to like talk him into helping her figure out what happened. And he's very dark and broody and swoony, and like I think there's gonna be a love connection there. This is a book that I had Celestia read in June for my birthday because I thought that I was gonna finish it before she got to it, but she ended up really not loving it. She didn't hate it, but she didn't like love it, and I don't know if she's planning to continue the trilogy or not, but like I still have to know. I have to know. I'm very invested. I need to know how it ends. I need to know who the bad guy is. I need to know what happened to these people that she allegedly saw, and like, or is she just like psychotic? Is she just like cuckoo? You know? So also rolling over Fish Out of Water by Savannah Scott. I started this in, I think it was March. No, it wasn't. It was April. I started it in April. I only read like a couple pages, but like I really want to continue it because I want to get it out of my KU so that I can move on to the next book in that series. I just want to finish that series. It's just so cute. So the first book was Are We There Yet? The series is called the Love Tippin' series by Savannah Scott, and it is a spin-off series to her Getting Shipped, which I read last year and really liked. The first book is about, so we have Ben, we have Riley. Riley and Maddie are best friends, okay? And Riley has a huge crush on Madison's brother, Cameron. And Cameron's best friend, Ben, and Maddie are also besties, if you will. So the four of them are traveling from Bordeaux, Ohio out to Los Angeles, or the Los Angeles area, if you will, in California. And they're driving in this pimped out van that Riley's dad bought them. It's a Volkswagen vintage van. And Duke from the Getting Shipped series, he pimps it out for them. And the best friend's brother trope. You got the road trip in there. You've got the forced proximity, all the good things. It's really, really cute, light and fluffy. I really liked it. This is the second book that I'm going to be rolling over into August. And again, it's called Fish Out of Water, but this is Ben's story. I don't know what the tropes are. I don't really know a whole lot about it. I only read like the first couple pages. I didn't even read the synopsis, if I'm being honest. For physical books, I've got a few here that I am rolling over into August. The first one I want to talk about is Where the Road Bends by Rachel Fordham. I am currently buddy reading this with Katrina from Sprints. If you follow my Sprints, she's in the comments all of the time. She's such a sweetheart. Her and I've met in person. She's a neighbor. She lives in Wilmer, Minnesota, which is like a couple hours away from me. So she doesn't have a channel. I don't think she has a Bookstagram. But we are buddy reading this, and we are currently on chapter 17, and I think there are 27 chapters, or 26 plus of the epilogue. And I really want to finish this before the month is over, just because I've only read one other book so far in July. But this is a historical Christian romance, and in this book we follow Nora, who is on the precipice of marrying some dude that she really isn't. I don't think she's in love with him. This is set in 1800 Iowa, and she's marrying Jake to save her farm, essentially. Her parents have passed, and she's the sole heir to this land, the farm that she grew up on, and she's sinking. She's a sinking ship financially, and she needs to marry someone so that she can save her farm. And so that's what this marriage of convenience is, really. Her and Jake are getting married so that he can have a wife and she can keep her farm. Well, one day Nora finds this injured man on her property, and she takes him in and nurses him back to health, and they have conversations while she's nursing him back to health. His name is Quincy, and he and her kind of strike up a little bit of a attraction, if you will. They end up parting ways, obviously, because he's trying to be respectful of her arranged marriage, and you know, he doesn't mess up on any toes and whatever. But I don't want to say any more than that because I don't want to give any spoilers, but I just have to know. Like, I think I know. It's pretty predictable a little bit what happens. Like, I think her and Quincy are going to somehow end up together, but like, how do they get back together? Like, I don't know. It's not my favorite historical romance that I've ever read. I don't hate it, but I don't particularly love Rachel Fordham's writing, if I'm being honest. I have two other books by her. I have Beyond the Ivy Walls and The Letry. I was gifted both of these for my birthday, and so I do want to give her more of a chance than just be like, I don't like this one book, so I'm not going to read any more from her. I say 3 strikes, you're out. That's usually kind of my route with Christian fiction authors. Secular, I don't give you quite as much grace. If you have a lot of swearing or a lot of sexual content, that's kind of a one and done type of a situation, but it's not my favorite writing style, if I'm being honest. I'm going to continue. This is not a review, Lucy. This is a TBR. Get with program here. We're about there. Like I said, a little more than halfway. I'm going to try really hard to finish it just so that I can have more than one book read for July, but if I don't, this will be carried over into August. Okay. I'm also going to be carrying over Live and Let Try by Bree Baker. This is another book that was gifted. By the way, this was gifted to me for my birthday. This one was gifted. I got so much for my birthday, y'all. It was crazy. They're all kind of put back on my shelf, so I can't really do a video. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is a secular cozy mystery about a girl named Everly, and she has a sweet tea restaurant, a little cafe. And one of the patrons, the guy that he's on the city council, if you will, he's found dead on her property holding one of her iced tea glasses. And she is like a prime suspect because he didn't want her to open her store to begin with, and so she's like been his prime target for like trying to shut her down and like expose her and like figure out a way to sabotage her restaurant, cafe, whatever. And before he passes, like the last thing she says to him under her breath is, "Hope you don't choke on an ice cube," or something like that. So she's the prime suspect. The writing in here is actually really cute and really sweet and whimsical, and I'm really into this. So this is the other physical book I will be carrying over into August. And then A Time to Kill by John Grisham. I don't know if I talked about this. Have I talked about this on Sprints? I feel like I might have, but I read a King of Torts. I listened to the audiobook in June, I believe, and come to find that it was the abridged version, which really upset me because I ended the book feeling like I missed something, feeling like there were plot holes and stuff. So I kind of went on a hunt to all my thrift stores to try to find a physical copy of it, and I just couldn't find one. But it really put a taste in my mouth for John Grisham. And I know he's kind of a controversial author here in Christian BookTube, but I really like him. And you know, some people think he's clean, some people think he's not clean. I would say that he's kind of middle of the road. He's kind of that like gray area author where I personally don't think he goes into enough detail to make it inappropriate or to where it crosses the line. Like, there's no question in your mind that these characters are like doing it, but like he doesn't go into explicit detail. I hope that makes sense. Also, the swearing is pretty mild in most of the John Grishams that I've read, and it's always situational, which to me is a huge thing too. But I personally really like John Grisham, and if y'all don't like that, that's okay. That's just totally fine with me. I just personally haven't been convicted that he's something that I should not be reading. This particular book is a reread, and in this book we follow an attorney named Jake, and he is Caucasian, and he is a younger attorney, and he decides to take the case of defending an African-American man who has, in broad daylight, I don't know what I'm doing with the book here. In broad daylight, he shot the two hillbillies that raped his little girl, his 10-year-old little girl. And there's no doubt in anyone's mind that he did it. He did it in broad daylight, lots of witnesses. But Jake, the attorney, is deciding to defend him anyway. The thing I love about John Grisham is that he is an attorney. So all of his books are legally accurate, and it's just really good writing. This I started at the end of May, I believe, and it takes me a little longer with some of his because of the subject matter. Especially this one. There's some stuff that's a little harder to swallow in this book. Trigger warnings for rape, trigger warnings for sexual assault and violence and gore. It's a little bloody. So I do have to take my time with it and put it down and digest it a little bit before I continue. But very, very good, and I'm excited to continue this in August. Okay, those are all the physical rollovers. Now let's talk buddy reads. I technically had 3 buddy reads lined up for August, but we ended up pushing them to September because life, y'all, life. If there's someone that I'm supposed to be buddy reading with in August, please don't hesitate to call me out in the comments, in a DM, in a text, whatever, because I would not be surprised. This is what happens when Lucy lines up several buddy reads and forgets to write them down. She forgets. She has a squirrel brain, and the summer has been insane, so I would not be surprised if there's someone I forgot. I don't mean it in a disrespectful manner, so please forgive my lack of tact right now and my poor memory, okay? And my disorganized brain. Have a little grace and just shoot me a DM and say, hey, we were supposed to read this. Do you remember? Because more than likely, I forgot. Okay, so now we're going to talk about books that I'm hoping to get to in August. And with the readathon that I'm co-hosting, it's a mood readathon, so like more than likely I'm gonna read what I want. but I am noticing that no matter how much I say I'm a mood reader, I really do better with a TBR. I do better with a plan. I do better with some structure. I do better with some rules and some regulations and some guidelines, and I do very well when I set goals. I think part of the reason June and July have been a little bit less than successful as far as reading goes is because I've been mood reading. I didn't have a TBR. I haven't been participating in any readathons. I've just been kind of reading what I want when I want, and I didn't have really any plan or any goals set. So that definitely affects my numbers when I don't set goals and I don't challenge myself. So my friend Jonah at work, coworker, well, technically I'm his boss because I'm a manager, but he borrowed me 2 books that he really wants me to read. They're both mainstream young adult fantasy, and the first one is a sequel to a trilogy that I have already started, Reckless by Lauren Roberts. This is the second book in the Powerless trilogy. I vlogged me reading Powerless cover to cover. I'll link that video down below. It destroyed my heart. I bawled my eyes out. It broke me. It broke me, but I loved it. I think it's one of the only 5-star books I gave that month. So I'm very excited to continue with book 2. Now, this is another series that is very controversial here in Christian BookTube. Some people say that it is fine, that it's okay, that, you know, there's nothing really naughty with it. And then there are some of my friends who said that it's absolutely awful, and they, like, one of my friends had to DNF it. But I have to know, when we have a situation or we have a book where the community is divided on it, I need to know where I land. Like, if it's like the majority of people feel one way, more than likely I'm going to be the unpopular opinion. So I'm curious where I'm going to land with this series. The other one, I really don't know anything about, y'all. So you're going to have to tell me for content if there's anything, because Jonah knows that I prefer books that don't have like a ton of smut, that don't have a ton of language and all of that. So he knows this about me, but his idea of clean and my idea of clean could perhaps be 2 different things. So I don't know. I've heard about this book over in Secular BookTube, and it was on my TBR for a while, but I don't really know anything about it. So the book is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. And I think I want to read the back. Hold on. Okay. So, Mare Barrow's world is divided by blood, those with red and those with silver. Mare and her family are lowly reds, destined to serve the silver elite, whose supernatural abilities make them nearly gods. Mare steals what she can to help her family survive, but when her best friend is conscripted into the army, she gambles everything to win his freedom. A twist of fate leads her to the royal palace itself, where, in front of the king and all his nobles, she discovers a power of her own, an ability she didn't know she had, except her blood is red. To hide this impossibility, the king forces her into the role of a lost silver princess and betroths her to one of his own sons. As Mare is drawn farther into the silver world, she risks her new position to aid the Scarlet Guard, the leaders of a red rebellion. Her actions put into motion a deadly and violent dance, pitting prince against prince and Mare against her own heart. From debut author Victoria Aveyard, this is her debut novel, comes a lush, vivid fantasy series where loyalty and desire can tear you apart and the only certainty is betrayal. I do think I remember Jamie Gordy saying in sprints that she got bored with this series, so that makes me a little nervous, but is it clean, Jamie Gordy? Like, do you remember any content? Does anyone know? I will update you as I read this. These 2, I think, will be priorities just because I want to read them and return to him in a timely manner, respectable manner, if you will. For readathons, obviously we have the end of summer jam readathon, the mood readathon that I'm co-hosting. I'll be participating in that. But then we also have the But we also have the Keep Me in Suspense Readathon, which is hosted by Caitlin over at Chronicles of a Book Nerd and Jeanette over at Jonah Reads. And I am going to be loosely participating in that readathon. And by loosely, I mean that I'm not like going to be searching out books to fulfill the prompts. I'm going to be mood reading and reading the books that I select with my TBR game. And then at the end of the month, whatever prompts I've finished. I'm sure there will be something. There are a couple of suspense that are on my radar. Yeah, that's basically it. So let's go ahead and break out the TBR jar, or the prompt jar. It's not a TBR jar because there are prompts in here. It's a prompt jar. And let's go ahead and roll, first of all, to see how many prompts I'm going to have to draw. And just for anyone who isn't familiar with how this works, essentially, I cannot select a book that was on my TBR last month, and I cannot use a book that I've already started. Now, since I haven't done a TBR in a while, technically, not, that one doesn't really apply, but I cannot count these books because I've already started them. Same with the 2 on KU. Okay, so let me go ahead and turn the camera around and we will see how many books I need to read or how many prompts I have to draw. Okay, guys, let's see what we are doomed with this month. 4. Okay, so I got 4. And that is a little intimidating because I forgot to mention that Letry and I are doing another collab in August. It is the 1-year anniversary of our first collab, and so we decided to do another one in honor of said anniversary. And so I have 2 books that I'm going to be reading for that. I'm not going to tell you which books. I'm not going to tell you how we chose them or anything like that because I want it to be a surprise. But it's different than last year's. So last year, if you remember, we chose each other's books. It's different this time. So I can tell you that we're going to be reading 2 books. These 3 rollovers, plus the 2 on Kindle Unlimited that I've started, plus the 2 with Cece. That's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Editing Lucy here. I totally forgot to include the 2 books from Jonah. So 11 plus 2, that's 13. Okay, if one of them that I'm reading with Celestria fulfills one of these prompts, I'm going to count it. Unfortunately, I won't be able to tell you what book it is, but I'll be honest with you, okay? Yeah, just trust me. So I could use either the 2 from that I'm reading with Celestria or either of these 2. Otherwise, I have to pick a completely different one, okay? Okay, first prompt. Let's see what it is. A swap. So after I've drawn my 4, so basically this is a free space. So now I'm going to be adding 3 books max to my TBR. So, and at the end of it, I can swap something that I don't particularly want to read out with something that I want to read. Okay? Okay. Prompt number 2. Please be a good one. Please be a good one. Something with food on the cover. Okay. Are any of these have food on the cover? So I really wasn't able to find anything with food on the cover on my shelf, except for this one right here, which is Devil's Foodcake Murder by Joanne Fluke. I haven't read this yet, but I want to read these in order, in publication order. That's just something that I do. That's just a thing that's me thing. I like to read authors' books in order of publication, just so I can see how their writing has grown, like if it grows or if it stays the same or gets worse. So I've read the first book in that series, but the next one in the series will be Strawberry Shortcake Murder, which is on KU. So I could read that, but I really have my eye on this book. Let me look it up here. See if I can find it up. This series. Go to my Goodreads here. Let's see. I don't have to sign in now. I don't remember what it's called, but something like The Sweet Creamery. It's a trilogy. It's Christian. I think it's contemporary. It's on my Kindle Unlimited. I'm going to put a picture right here. I think that's what I'm going to choose for it because it looks really good to me. It's something that I'm just in the mood for right now. I really have been trying to read my physical shelf, especially with my prompt jar. I've been trying to be really good about that, but I'm going to be a stickler about it. I don't want to read these out of order, so I'm going to read this book here. Or I could read Strawberry Shortcake Murder too. It'll be one of those two. I'm not sure yet. So that's what I'll do for the second prompt. Okay? That's what I'll do for the second prompt. Prompt number 3. This video's getting long. I'm sorry, y'all. I'll try to do some editing. Okay, prompt number 3. Please be something good. Terry Blackstock. That makes me actually happy. I can work with that. None of the books that I really want to read this month are by Terry Blackstock. Neither of these are, and neither the two with Celestia are. So I think I'm going to use this opportunity to continue my journey through the New Point 911 series. I do believe this is book 2. Yeah. This is Shadow of Doubt. This is going to be book 2. And I read book 1 in May, I think. It's either April or May. I can't remember. But I did very much enjoy it. And so I want to continue the series. So that is what we will choose for Terry Blackstock. Okay. Prompt number 3. Or prompt number 4. Prompt number 4. Start a series. What? I don't want to. You guys. I really don't want to. This is the first book in a series. We're going to use this one. I don't think either of the ones that Cece and I are buddy reading are parts of the series either. So, okay. Let's take a look, shall we? So we have these 3 rollovers, y'all. I really want to try to finish this one before the month is over. I don't know how it's going to happen, but okay. So these are the 3. Then I have the 2 on KU and the 2 that I'm reading with Cece. I have this one here that my buddy Jonah borrowed me, as well as Red Queen, which fulfills the start a series prompt, right? Then I have the Shadow of Doubt, which is the Terry Blackstock prompt. And then this one here, which will fulfill the food on the cover. And then this is a swap if I want to swap anything out. I can't swap these 3 out because I've already started them. And I don't want to swap these out because I need to finish them in a timely manner so I can return them. This one would be the only one I would end up swapping out. And if I do, I'll let y'all know. Because I'm kind of itching to get my hands on this one. Kind of itching. I'm just feeling fantasy and contemporary right now. Like, those are the 2 genres that I'm really feeling. Y'all. This is my TBR. This is my TBR for August. Plus 4 online. No, 4 others. Plus the 2 with Cece. Plus the 2 that I've already started on KU, plus that little sweet creamery, whatever. I will keep you posted, guys. It's so good to be back filming again, y'all, and I hope y'all are having a really good summer. Let me know in the comments what you're planning to read in August, if you're planning to participate in any of the readathons, and what your favorite book was that you read in July. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you guys very soon with another video.